goes over the corporation. Everybody's gone through orientation. Everybody understands the mission and the values and all of those things. My approach to town halls is updating on what's going on in the hospital, finding out what you don't think should be going on in the hospital, or you have concerns or questions about some subject that, no one's talked about. I was just talking to Rachel this morning. Somebody couldn't make the little meeting I had, so I met with her one-on-one. And one of her concerns that she brought up was somebody that worked here before now works in Lubbock, and they're being told in Lubbock people are getting laid off and Plainview's next. That is about as far from the truth as you can get. Plainview's not on any list, except we're number one in most categories again. So, because of all of your efforts and all of the things that are being done in the hospital, we're in a growth period, not a cut period, because we had too many people to begin with. We didn't have enough, we're still hiring, and Rachel's going through that. So I approve hires. They have to go through a big committee where all the CEOs sit at the list and say yay or nay. We're the only facility working over 100% productivity. So that means all of our people are fitting the volumes we're doing. But we've always done that here. You know, you don't have patients on the floor, the chances are you're probably not going to work. And that's where it falls on my shoulders. What am I doing to get volume so you guys have jobs? So that's the focus, not cutting costs or doing this. We need to look at our costs, and we do that. And the ER volume went way down. They had mid-levels, and the company Envision, the one that pays for all of their help, and then we pay them to staff the ER, decided all across the country at their locations they were removing their mid-levels. We were the very last ones to do that. And then Envision cut their upper management salary 75%, and they got rid of all non-clinical people. So a lot of people are in dire straits because of what's going on in the country. Of course, why do you cut healthcare people during a pandemic? That's rather, I could say asinine, but I won't. So, because it's being recorded. But we had to cooperate with Sound, the ones that supply us with our hospitalists, and Dr. Salat, who's been here for several years, but he was a locums for that company. He wasn't a W-2 employee. So they had 11 locums, 10 in Lubbock, 1 here. And they said they were going to, get rid of their locums because they're very, very expensive. They have 24 people over, they staff 24 hospitals over in Lubbock and 2 here. So that day they made that decision, they cut 10 people that day. Dr. Slide had been here a long time, so he got a 30-day notice, because we don't do that here. That's mean and cruel. But at the same time they were doing that, Dr. Slot also was looking at other things. He had plans to go elsewhere. It just wasn't forthcoming. So on the last day here, we talked. He had accepted, a few weeks ago, accepted a position over in Amarillo prior to us knowing anything about it. And then he was looking at a place closer to his family for the hospitalist thing. Look at all those drinks. Boy, those get thirsty. My goodness. So that has been the only changes that we've had in this location, and that's dealing with other companies. One of the areas, Med-Surg and ICU, does very, very well. We recently, everything was fixed, so Rachel didn't have the opportunity to look at how the staffing is going and why and doing all that, so it was recently changed.
but I think this last productivity, you were like 107 or something like that, or 117.
So that's going, that's going well. And when Dr. Hatch is here, we get pretty full. So we're working on interviewing candidates that want to live here, have a practice here. So we have some consistency and some continuity and some community buy-in. So we're working with Sound on recruitments, and we're looking for, give that to him to sign. We're looking for somebody that kind of wants to come and retire. It's so much nicer to hire a physician that has it in their mind this is where they want to be, this is their practice, not just well, I need a job until I find one I like. We don't need that here. So I'll move right into doing what we're doing on the physician recruitment. And what we're doing, some of you might have been here when Lauren Schwartz was a resident. She's FPOB. You've been here. Well, anyway, we gave her an offer yesterday, and she's pretty happy with it, and has asked for a contract. So we'll be filling that position, and she'll be over at this rural health link over here. And I think all of you worked around Matt Sella. He was a medical student. His JR is his stepfather in respiratory, and his mother's Plainview. We're working on giving him an offer and doing, so when he gets out of his residency for general surgery, then he comes back here. He wants to live in this area. Plainview would be his favorite area to live in. So I called his medical school, and they said whatever he sets his mind to, he's good at. So we're very fortunate. And of course, August 1st, Dr. Dayton Wong will start as a general surgeon here. He's the chief resident right now at Texas Tech. Well, till tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
He graduates tomorrow. So everybody tried to recruit him, and he chose to come here. He's from Hawaii. He's used to a small community. He likes the outdoors, and he's on the hunting list with me. So he has a place to go after work. In fact, he goes there all the time. He has a wife and a newborn, and it was March. It was March that the baby was born.
I think so.
And then like a 2-year-old. So he's a family man. They bought a house in Lubbock. He's remodeling it, and he's taking his boards July 16th and 17th. Then he'll go back to remodeling, and as soon as the house is done, his wife and kids will move here, but he'll start August 1st. So
He bought a house in Plainview.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, over off of 3rd, where where the fire department and
Oh, in the La Mesa
funeral
edition.
home and Plainview Christian Academy,
Mm.
but he's across the road because he said he can go over to a park. So he's committed to Plainview. His parents have been over here from Hawaii. They think it's great. So that's going to work great for us. So we're really staffing the physicians to keep everything up and running. Our transfers have gone way down. We're monitoring it, and the transfer center now has us at the top of the list. They can look and see how many open beds we have. So if Portales calls with a patient, they'll come here versus Lubbock, because UMC and CMC, it's 22 to 48 hour wait for the ER, and then to try to get a room. So it's quicker, and we've had quite a few from out around that area. In fact, Littlefield is more apt to send them here now than Lubbock. Plus, a lot of them have sent me messages and cards stating this is the best care that they've got. The nurses are great.
you guys, that's on second floor, it's, you know, they're not running over here and have babies or anything, so it's mainly about what you guys do on second floor. In fact, the first referral that we got through the transfer center was a gentleman from Muleshoe, and his wife was a retired RN. They used the hospital, both hospitals over in Lubbock, and said, wow, this is great. I said, well, we're working to remodel, and she goes, well, we never even noticed it, because everybody's in here taking care of us, talking to us, and we didn't even notice the room. Of course, I pointed it out. And that leads into construction. Providence cut all construction. Covenant's dead in the water, we're dead in the water until this COVID thing comes over. They've said they've lost 1.4 billion since COVID started. You know, they have 51 hospitals, so divide that in there. And that, you know, you read all these stories, but at the end of the day, it's, they didn't get those revenues. Did they lose? Are they close to being just, unstable? No. We're not in the red here. We're just not anywhere near last year or the budget. But we have grown faster in a shorter period of time than all of Providence. And that's because I signed a waiver, sent it to the state blessed it, and we started surgeries and everything 11 days prior to anybody else. We didn't need PPE. We had thousands of masks and everything. So that worked out for us. And so we got ahead of the game. So April, which was a total failure, didn't turn out to be a disgusting total failure. It was limited, but in the black. Not very much, just over the edge. A little spending money for now, that's about it. But we did maintain and move forward. And May was a great month. And June is really going, like today we had 17 surgeries. And everybody knows surgeries cost a lot of money, so that's our biggest revenue producer. The second biggest revenue producer is radiology. So, radiology is not up to its numbers. People are still scared to come in and, you know, get a CT or an MRI, and so that's been very, very limited, but it's starting to come back. And people are starting to come back to the clinics. Our clinics are doing very, very well on the volumes, and that's where our referrals come from. So that's where we're at today. They informed me on the construction that in the worst case scenario, end of 2020, they would start construction. The best case scenario, they start construction at the end of 2020. And I've sent them correspondence weekly, and they've replied basically, I don't need to send the correspondence anymore because there's nothing they can do about it. So I was talking to Carol Terrell about some things and talking about our 12 showers on 3 East, and we're done. But, you know, we're just waiting for that money. Well, Covenant Lubbock Foundation heard about it, so Tuesday I had the construction company come up here, do a quote just to finish off 3 East, the L&D piece, which is basically glue up a couple things in the C-section, clean it up and open it. So the bid was taken to the foundation, so I should know sometime next week or the following week if they're gonna step up and say, hey, we'll pay for that. Everything through the state has been approved for all construction projects. The day they canceled construction, I had just gotten the plans from the architects on the whole redo of the basement and the 4th floor. So that's on hold. I was told there was money out there, so I was the first one to step in line and go after it. I'd like a complete building before I retire. So hopefully I can present that and get that money going. But the next step and how we're doing on phases, we weren't going to finish and then start a new one. We were gonna get close to finish and start the next phase. So third would have been done here in a few months. Before 3 West was done, they would have started up second. And that's how it's gonna go. And, the first floor was supposed to start before 3 East was done. Got all the materials, but, you know, of course, everything was canceled. So we were gonna do it all at once, not this. 3 years, they did nothing. And I know everybody heard, we're just gonna paint, they don't have money, all that stuff, that's bogus. We have the money and we're not just painting. And we're not cleaning the carpet, we're taking the carpet away. Did anybody, no one here saw 3 East, you did. You're familiar how the visiting room up in the OR looks? That's kind of what you see when you look down 3 East. And of course, they weren't gonna replace the showers, but we renegotiated that and got that taken care of. And they drilled it out, you know, I mean, you can look down and then that's when it got shut off, so. And everybody in second was aware when they were drilling up the third. So, we're moving in the right direction, and through the grapevine, well, I was in a private meeting, they said we would be the first one to receive funds when they opened up the construction, so I'm happy about that. So hopefully, second will get started before the end of the year, which is June already, which I can't believe, so. Next is, how are you guys doing with the COVID? You know, right now, today I was on the COVID call, and 77 people were diagnosed yesterday positive in Lubbock. If you remove the 20 to 29-year-olds, there were 17. And all of those people that were, hey, where have you been? Thursday and Friday of last week, they were in the bars with no masks. Nobody was masked. And I know everybody heard there's things in the community. Well, there are. There was a medical clinic where the employees weren't wearing masks. One got it, and then a bunch of others, is what I was told. And I was told Tuesday that Allegiance was filled with COVID. They had a CNA that tested positive. And now she's tested negative 2 times after that, so it's being classified as a false positive. We don't have any COVID on 4th floor. You know, there was a guy that came in, and how can you have patients, you know, well, it's a hospital, number one, and that's what we do. I don't know what some people goes through their mind, but what we're trying to do is put all of these little rumors to bed. Have we had positive employees? I think we have. But was it from the hospital? No, it wasn't. So, Plainview experienced their first death. I think everybody's aware of Mary's husband. That was the first. And the other 4 were Hale Center and Petersburg. And we had that one, and that one, those 4 were right at the beginning and didn't, and that they got it from outside the county in the city. I think it started in Lubbock at one of the nursing homes. You know, it came through the family that way. We've been very fortunate, and I don't think it's because if you go to Walmart, nobody's wearing a mask. You know, all the kids are running around. So I don't think that is the reason. I just think that people are aware of it and they're not having as many outings. Now it's picking up, but if the young people get it, the ones that have gotten it have, one of them said, well, I had a little headache for one day, and that was it. So the severity of the flu out east, and I'm sure it's moving this way, everything ramps up. You know, it genetically changes and morphs to this monster. It's going the opposite direction. It's getting weaker. It's like, you know, we had that SARS scare, which is a COVID, the MERS scare, which was a COVID, and now we're in this COVID, and it didn't amount to much. I think the H1N1 is still ahead of COVID worldwide on deaths. And we've had worse before in the United States, 58 and 68. Nobody did it. If COVID were to equal 1968 Hong Kong flu, they would have to be 273 deaths in the United States to be equal to the Hong Kong flu. So it's not new to us having these things. It's just the news media has never communicated at this level before. So it's made a lot of people very conscious of what's going on. Where 68, you didn't have cell phones, laptops, 24-hour news stations. TV went off at midnight, the flag came on, and music. That was it. They didn't have all this. They didn't report every little thing. They weren't in competition. So we're more exposed to information than any time in our history. And COVID is a nasty, fast spreading. It's not as contagious as measles, but it's right there where the normal flu, you know, is here and measles here and COVID's here. So you have to be very conscious. But I think the 27th of June, we're having the antibody testing. So if any of you feel like you've been exposed to it or want to know if you've been exposed to it and built antibodies.
It's not antibody testing, it's actually the COVID test.
I thought they were doing antibody.
Oh, I haven't heard
The
that.
message I got, the bus is coming back.
No, I think it's just two.
At Wayland?
That's
At
just-
Wayland?
No, here,
No,
in our
here.
parking
Oh,
lot.
I hadn't heard that.
We're doing doing caregivers, we'll have the bus out here, and you'll go out and
Oh.
draw blood, in about 7 days, you'll get an antibody test.
Oh, cool.
So,
I didn't know that.
oh, okay.
No, I didn't.
I just knew about the.
I read it on the meal, or the message that was sent out to everybody,
I
so.
saw it on the Facebook page.
Yeah, the Plainview is announcing, it's for caregivers. So you go out there with your driver's license, your insurance card, and just go get your blood drawn, come back. I did it when they were here in Grace Abundance, or Abundance Grace Church. I delivered meals to them, and they said, oh, we need to take your picture. Oh, by the way, while we're drawing your blood. So I had it done, and it came back negative. Dr. Hatch, who, you know, has been working with them like you guys, his was negative. So there were 317 people tested, and 7 came back positive. They had no clue where they were ever around it. So you could be exposed and not know anything about it. And they were younger people. So that's where we're at. Any questions, concerns, issues? We're very fortunate. A lot of healthcare providers over in Lubbock, their spouses or significant others lost their jobs during this process, and not much of that happened here, which is thank God, you know, for giving us a pass on that. So, but we're doing well. You guys are doing fantastic. Again, I want to thank each and every one of you for what you're doing and the 5-star rating. I still use that when I talk to people, when we get message on, you got to do this now, and I say, well, we're 5 stars, so if you need any assistance or advice, call us. And that usually ends the conversation. We don't need a lot of advice until everybody that has all this information they want to give us is at our level. And, or I should say at your guys' level, because you're the ones that made it happen. So we're trying to keep everything in mind. When I come through there in the mornings, you have something to say or something to ask, please do. We have one person who always steps up and says something, so. But I knew her from the previous, stint here, so. Anyway, I'll let you get to your meeting. I wanna thank you very much for your time and everything that you're doing upstairs. I greatly appreciate it. So are you guys going on or you just get off?
Just go.
Oh,
Okay, cause I was gonna say I saw a bunch of you this morning. Not you.
On Cindy.
No, not Cindy.